So thank you for joining us for poster session 9 about MHealth technology and community-based doula programs. I'm very excited to hear from our presenter, Maria Kashyap. And without further ado, I'm going to let you take it away and look forward to hearing your presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Cersei. Hello and welcome, everybody. So this presentation is about an intervention proposal that was fortunately published with the Harvard Public Health Review in 2021. And it basically talks about the need to integrate mobile health, or MHealth for short, technology in existing community-based doula programs so that we can best serve adolescent single mothers. I chose adolescent mothers as my target population because they are predisposed to a variety of risk factors. Unfortunately, some of them, including low socioeconomic status, low educational attainment, high feelings of social isolation, lower confidence in their child-rearing abilities, and also higher chances, risks of child abuse, maltreatment, and developmental delays among their children. So this is just to name a few, and you can see the many factors on this slide. Now, this is where the doulas come in, because as much as adolescent single mothers need social support, particularly support and care from families, they're one of the lowest parenting populations to actually receive family support as compared to adult parents. It's very ironic. And I thought it's best to leverage community-based doula programs for adolescent mothers, especially single mothers who don't have family support. Although current research suggests that most doula programs are geared towards adult parenting populations, so that is a gap in existing literature that I wanted to bridge through this proposal. I wanted my proposal to have two main intervention arms. So the first one, it's called the digital extension of doula care, as part of which recruited doulas would be given a wearable device and a mobile application to collect, track, and monitor health-related data on participating mothers. And they will also use this arm of the intervention to disseminate information toolkits and interactive pamphlets, as well as to respond to requests of urgent in-person care. The second arm of this intervention, it's a mouthful, it's called the Mobile Mediated Social Support Groups, or MMSSG for short. The intent of this arm is to allow participating mothers to connect with each other through private messages, teleconferencing, and using a common broadcasting system. And each participating mother and doula will be allocated a unique identification code and a password for data security reasons. In order to successfully and best implement this intervention, I had certain ideas about what the pre-implementation and implementation phases would look like. So as part of the pre-implementation, I recommended that researchers should conduct a needs assessment survey among the target population to best understand their health, education, and parenting needs. And they should also look for ways to encourage participating mothers to stay in touch with each other after the intervention is completed to reduce feelings of social isolation, which was a common complaint among the target population. And then during the implementation phase, researchers are encouraged to participate with CBOs, or community-based organizations, to ensure equity-focused recruitment and retention of both mothers and doulas. Doulas who agree to participate in this program must have different specializations, such as labor, postpartum care, antepartum care, and bereavement. Participating mothers should represent diverse backgrounds and neighborhoods for equity reasons. And lastly, but not the least, each participating mother should sign off on an informed consent with the ability to acquire and avail translation support should they not communicate in the dominant language. This intervention proposal is anticipated to have certain strengths and limitations. So starting with the strengths, the fact that the data, it's very data tracking and monitoring heavy, allows promises rather a reduction in loss to follow up with participants, which is particularly helpful given how transient adolescent populations can be. The inclusion of a pre-intervention survey and also potential partnerships with CBOs increases the external validity of this intervention. And also, given the fact that it's so digital in nature, it's very appropriately positioned to help adolescent populations because they're so tech savvy. And also, in the event that there is some disruption to in-person communication, such as a pandemic, this intervention is well suited for those purposes as well. It has two main limitations, though. So the first one has, again, to do with the data-sensitive nature of the intervention, which will require a lot of funding, a lot of training of doula and participating mothers, device maintenance efforts, and it will also require a robust mobile network connectivity, which may be hard to come across in hard-to-reach populations. And there's also limited evidence on how this intervention will work with harder to reach atypical populations, such as adolescent mothers in foster care, those who are incarcerated, those who have developmental disabilities, and those who are currently unhoused. So to conclude, I have certain next steps and recommendations for future researchers who may be interested in using MHealth as an avenue in developing maternal health interventions. Given that digital interventions are very useful in modeling positive behavior change, it has a lot of potential, but unfortunately, it's not as widely utilized as it should be. So going forward, those who are interested should make sure that the recruited doulas are extensively trained to use devices appropriately and ensure that there's no data breaches. The health education materials that are disseminated must be culturally and linguistically sensitive to the needs of the target population. Researchers should ensure that all participating mothers have the option to stay in touch with each other after the completion of the program, should they want to. Researchers should also hire evaluation specialists at the intervention baseline to ensure appropriate process and outcome evaluation from the get-go. And lastly, the participating mothers should be trained to be able to meaningfully contribute to research and evaluation efforts in the sense that they're not just recipients of research, but they're also actively participating in research that affects them. So that brings me to the end of this presentation. Thank you for listening, and I'm happy to take questions now or in the participant networking booth, whatever works for everybody. Okay. I think you're muted, Dr.
Oh, yes. Thanks very much. The platform is very conscientious about not having folks like talk and have it be heard like inadvertently. So I appreciate that, but it also makes it a little challenging. Just want to thank you again. Your wonderful talk. And as always, I'm always reminded, such different topics we have from all of our speakers, but
Right.
always at the same intersection of social justice, health equity, from all viewpoints of health.
Right.
Really appreciate you coming here and sharing with us today, and looking forward to staying in touch and learning more about what you're doing.
Of course. Thank you so much. So is it okay if I head to the networking booth? Okay.
I'm
Perfect.
going.
Thank you so much.
You go there, and I'm going to go on to presentation 10. So
all the best. Thank you, Dr. Cersei.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.